We're uncovering the shocking moments when Peter Parker abandoned his moral code and unleashed a fury that would terrify even his worst enemies. Today we are looking at Spider-Man fights where he went too far. First up, Spidey severs Scorpion's jaw. In the lead up to Dan Slott's Superior Spider-Man run, a seismic shift occurred in the Spider-Man mythos. The story unfolded in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man number 700, where readers witnessed a shocking turn of events that would forever alter the web-slinger's trajectory. Dr. Octopus, the iconic Spider-Man villain, had successfully executed a body swap with Peter Parker. This left Otto Octavius in control of Peter's body, while Peter's consciousness was trapped within the decaying body of his nemesis. The world was unaware of this drastic change. Mary Jane, the Avengers, and even Spider-Man's classic foe, Scorpion, remained oblivious to the fact that their beloved hero was now inhabited by a ruthless villain. Matt Gargan, the man known as Scorpion, was driven by a thirst for vengeance against J. Jonah Jameson. He blamed the Daily Bugle publisher for his transformation into a cybernetic freak. Scorpion stormed a safe room where Jameson, his father, Aunt May, and Mary Jane were hiding, intending to inflict maximum pain and suffering. Jameson, in a moment of self-sacrifice, offered himself to Gargan in exchange for the safety of the others. But Scorpion, consumed by rage, refused this offer, planning to torment Jameson by killing his loved ones first. Just as Scorpion was about to execute his sinister plan, Spider-Man arrived on the scene. However, this was not the Spider-Man anyone knew. This was Otto Octavius, masked and empowered by Peter Parker's superhuman abilities. The Sin Eater saga is a dark and complex chapter in Spider-Man's history, one that pushes the hero to his moral limits and forces him to confront the very nature of justice and vengeance. The story begins with the introduction of Stanley Carter, a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent turned NYPD detective. Haunted by a past experiment that left him physically enhanced but mentally unstable, and further traumatized by the death of his partner, Carter descends into a twisted form of vigilantism. Adopting the persona of Sin Eater, he embarks on a murderous crusade to cleanse the city of those he deems sinful. His first victim is a shocking one, Captain John DeWolf, a respected police officer and a close ally of Spider-Man. This deeply personal attack sends shockwaves through the city and ignites a fire in Spider-Man, fueling his determination to bring Sin Eater to justice. As Sin Eater's body count rises, Spider-Man finds himself caught in a desperate chase, his pursuit of the killer growing increasingly frantic and fueled by rage. The brutality of Sin Eater's crimes and the personal connection to Captain DeWolf push Spider-Man closer to the edge than ever before. The climax of this saga is a confrontation fraught with tension and moral ambiguity. Spider-Man finally corners Sin Eater, and in a moment of unbridled fury, he unleashes a brutal assault intent on making the villain pay for his heinous crimes. However, just as Spider-Man is about to cross the line and deliver a fatal blow, Daredevil intervenes. The man without fear, a staunch believer in justice within the confines of the law, physically restrains Spider-Man, preventing him from taking a life. This act of intervention forces Spider-Man to confront the darkness within himself and the fine line between justice and vengeance. While Sin Eater is ultimately apprehended and brought to justice, the psychological scars of his rampage linger. Spider-Man grapples with the intensity of his rage and the realization of how close he came to crossing a line he could never return from. This experience leaves a lasting impact on the web-slinger, shaping his future interactions and his understanding of his own capacity for violence. The Sin Eater story isn't just about a hero fighting a villain, it's about the tough choices heroes face and the dangers of letting anger control you. It reminds us that even heroes can be pulled into darkness, and that justice should always be balanced with compassion. He's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the wisecracking web-slinger who always pulls his punches. But even the most jovial hero has a line you don't cross. Threaten his family, and you'll unleash a side of Spider-Man that's as terrifying as it is relentless. Wilson Fisk, the kingpin of crime, experienced this firsthand during the Back in Black storyline. Even from behind bars, Fisk's influence remained potent. Upon learning Spider-Man's secret identity, he set in motion a plan to strike Peter Parker once and for all, hiring an assassin to take care of the Spider-Man. But in a twist of fate, the sniper's bullet struck Aunt May instead of Peter leaving her critically injured, teetering on the brink of death. This heinous act shattered Peter's world. The normally lighthearted hero was consumed by a burning rage, a primal need for retribution against the man who dared to harm his family. Unlike other instances where the symbiote suit amplified his anger, this time Peter was driven purely by his own raw emotions. He donned a simple black suit, a visual representation of his inner turmoil, and embarked on a mission of vengeance. Driven by a relentless pursuit of justice, Spider-Man interrogated criminals with a ruthless efficiency. He used his enhanced strength and agility to overpower and intimidate his targets, forcing them to reveal information about Kingpin's operation. He wasn't interested in polite conversation or gentle persuasion. He wanted answers, and he would stop at nothing to get them. In one particularly chilling encounter, Spider-Man confronted an arms dealer who had information about the assassin Kingpin hired. When Peter didn't get the answers he was looking for, he proceeded to throw the thug out of his penthouse window, letting him plummet to his seeming demise. Moments before hitting the ground, he was caught by one of Spider-Man's webs. To say the least, he quickly spilled the beans. Fueled by his unbridled rage, Spider-Man became an unstoppable force. He infiltrated the prison where Kingpin was incarcerated, tearing through guards and inmates with a ferocity that shocked even the hardened criminals. His movements were precise and brutal, each strike carrying the weight of his despair and anger. The confrontation with Kingpin was a visceral display of raw power. Spider-Man unleashed a relentless barrage of punches and kicks, his superhuman strength amplified by his fury. He wasn't pulling his punches, wasn't holding back. This wasn't a superhero sparring match. It was a brutal, no-holds-barred beatdown. In a chilling moment that underscored the gravity of the situation, Spider-Man unmasked himself in front of Kingpin. This wasn't just about inflicting physical pain, it was about making sure Fisk knew exactly who was responsible for his suffering. It was a deeply personal act of vengeance, a stripping away of the masked persona to reveal the raw fury beneath. With Kingpin battered and broken, Spider-Man had him completely at his mercy. He could have easily ended the crime lord's life then and there. He even contemplated doing so, his rage pushing him to the edge of a moral abyss. And ending it off with the Grim Hunt storyline, culminating in Amazing Spider-Man number 637, is a harrowing exploration of loss, vengeance, and the blurred lines of morality. It plunges Peter Parker into a maelstrom of grief and rage, forcing him to confront the darkest impulses of his heroic heart. The Kravinoff family, obsessed with resurrecting their patriarch, Sergei Kravinoff, aka Kraven the Hunter, orchestrates a twisted ritual. Their prey? Spider-Man. However, they capture Kane Parker, Peter's flawed clone, and a figure who grapples with his own troubled past. Kane, in a selfless act of sacrifice, confronts the Kravinoffs, hoping to protect Peter and perhaps find redemption for his past sins. This act of bravery leads to his brutal demise, his lifeblood fueling the resurrection of Sergei. The resurrection is a chilling spectacle, steeped in dark magic and desperation. Sergei, ripped from the solace of death, returns to a world that has moved on, his family fractured and his purpose lost. This victory for the Kravinoffs is a hollow one, the beginning of their unraveling. There you have it, the time Spider-Man fights where he went too far. Want to see more videos like this one? Check out this video next. It's about the darkest superheroes you never knew about. We count down all the superheroes who have made a pact with the devil. Click the video now. What are you waiting for?